train station encounter. It was a rainy afternoon in London, the kind where the world seems painted in shades of grey. Ella stood under the metal awning of Paddington Station, clutching a worn leather journal in one hand and a lukewarm coffee in the other. She had missed her train. Again. And now had an hour to kill before the next one. She sighed, leaning against the cold metal railing, watching the raindrops race down the glass ceiling. Her mind wandered, flipping through memories of failed relationships and a career that had become more routine than passion. It wasn't that she was unhappy, just stuck. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Ella turned startled out of her thoughts. Standing before her was a man, about her age, with tousled dark hair and a navy trench coat dripping from the rain. His smile was hesitant, but his eyes were warm, the kind that seemed to see right through you. "No, go ahead," she said, moving her bag aside. "Thanks," he said, sitting down and shaking the water from his coat. "Typical London weather, huh?" Ella sonrió débilmente. "Yeah, it never fails to ruin plans." He glanced at the journal in her lap. "Are you a writer?" She hesitated. "Not really. I like to jot things down. Thoughts, ideas. It's more for me than anything else." "That's still writing," he said, his voice kind. "What kind of things do you write?" She studied him for a moment, wondering why she felt an urge to answer. "Stories, mostly. Sometimes about people I see, like the woman who's always sitting outside, the coffee shop on Portobello Road, or the barista who never smiles." He chuckled. "Sounds like you see the world in a way most people don't." Ella se encogió de hombros. "Un poco avergonzada. What about you? Are you waiting for a train too?" He nodded. "Yes, but not one I'm in a rush to catch. And I'm heading to Bristol for a family thing." "You?" He nodded. "Yes, but not one I'm in a rush to catch. I'm heading to Bristol for a family thing." "You?" "Oxford," she replied. "Just a day trip. Or it was supposed to be, until I missed my train." He smiled. "Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Sometimes the best things happen when you're not where you're supposed to be." Ella rió suavemente. "That sounds like something from one of my stories." "Then maybe you should write about this," he said, gesturing between them. She tilted her head. "This? Two strangers stuck in a train station making awkward small talk?" "Exactly," he said, his grin widening. "But maybe it's not awkward. Maybe it's the beginning of something interesting." There was a pause, a moment where the noise of the station seemed to fade, leaving only the sound of the rain tapping against the roof. Ella found herself holding his gaze, her heart doing an unfamiliar little flip. "I'm Nathan, by the way," he said, holding out his hand. "Ella?" she said, shaking it. His hand was warm, steady. For the next 45 minutes, they talked. It started with the usual: work, favourite places in London, travel plans. But soon the conversation deepened. They discovered a shared love for obscure books, old movies, and rainy afternoons. Nathan told her about his dream to open a small bookstore one day, and Ella confessed that she had always wanted to write a novel, but was too scared to try. "Why scared?" he asked. "What if it's terrible? What if no one wants to read it?" "Then it's terrible," he said simply. "But at least you did it. And who knows? Maybe it'll be amazing. You won't know unless you try." "Why scared?" he asked. "What if it's terrible? What if no one wants to read it?" "Then it's terrible," he said simply. "But at least you did it. And who knows? Maybe it'll be amazing. You won't know unless you try." The announcement for her train broke the spell. Ella glanced at the clock, her stomach sinking. "That's me," she said, standing reluctantly. Nathan stood too. "It was nice meeting you, Ella. And remember, write the story." She hesitated, her heart pounding. "Maybe I will." As she turned to leave, he called after her. "Wait!" She turned, hopeful. "Here," he said, pulling a pen from his pocket and grabbing her journal. He scribbled something on the first blank page and handed it back. She glanced down. It was a phone number. "Just in case you need more inspiration," he said with a wink. Ella sonrió, sintiendo un calor que no había sentido en años. "Thanks, Nathan." As she boarded the train, she clutched the journal tightly, her heart racing in a way it hadn't in a long time. That night, back in her tiny apartment, Ella opened the journal and stared at the number for a long moment before dialing. "Thank you for spending this time with me tonight. As you close your eyes and drift into sleep, remember that every day brings new opportunities for connection, inspiration, and unexpected moments of joy. Let your dreams tonight be filled with hope, love, and the magic of life's little surprises. Good night, sleep well, and I'll see you in the next story."